Okay.
There
Can you see
go.
that?
Yeah.
That was the comfort one. Then I reworked it. And
You're really liking that, aren't you?
liking what?
That blocking out process.
Yeah, it's a ball. It's the best game.
Uh-oh. I see somebody becoming a
Uh-oh.
seascape abstract impressionist in the next 20 years.
That'd be cool.
Go into cubism.
Exactly. I want to see the top and the sides and the bottom of the water at the same time. No, so what great, oh, man, it's so pretty. I got to take a picture of that. Can you post this week on your Facebook?
Yeah, I have to learn how to do that, but I'll do it.
Connie can show you how to do it because she's going to post that cool tree picture this week.
All right, yeah, I'll post the tree. It's easy to post your Facebook, though.
Yeah.
That's what people tell me. They said the same thing about email, and I finally learned how to do that.
Last week? Great.
No, two years ago.
Oh.
It took a dog to get me to do it.
Uh-oh. Sounds like you and Katya need to have conversations about this.
Yeah, I think we could be buds. We're dog people.
So talk to us. What's going on with this wonderful thing? That's right. You put this in a square, right?
Yeah.
And what grid were you using?
The cat grid.
Mm.
And I did do a drawing over the grid, if you wanted to see that, or we can stay with this because.
No. Do the drawing. Show us the drawing.
Okay, then I've got to.
What I like about what we were looking at was you were locking in, giving it the math, right? But you really, really felt two things. You felt the charge change, right, at the top and the bottom, and actually even that blank space between the top and the bottom. And then in the bottom, you really did feel like this spiraling coming through, like this arabesque, even though everything was locked in and blocked in. Ooh, I got to write that one down. Locked in and blocked in.
Sorry, it's not level.
We're not seeing it, Dan.
Oh, you're not seeing it?
Well,
No.
I'm saving his desktop.
you need to highlight one.
Okay.
You need to select one.
Did that show up?
Yeah.
Yeah. Ooh, that's nice.
Wow.
And like a suspension bridge, every line makes it stronger without. Is there anything in here that's jumping out at you guys that needs to be addressed?
I'm not picking up the dominant thrusts from this compared to where you started from. And I'm not totally seeing how this relates to your blocked in one a bit, but you have the blocked in one on the grid. This is more of a sketch on the grid.
The first one I showed was the blocked in one. Oh, but over the grid?
Underneath it?
No, I don't.
Okay.
The only thing that I am seeing is where I guess I would select certain areas and underlay the matrix on it. That would be the approach that I would do, because while there's a very nice flow happening throughout her larger design elements, I feel like a little bit of that's getting lost, where if you put the other grid, the matrix underneath there, you could go in, I'm pulling up an annotation tool, like in an area like this, you have, you know, you've got your grid is lining up here and lining up here and lining up here, but in here you're missing any alignment of things. And if you had your small matrix in there, I'm thinking you could fine tune even how some of those smaller waves were relating and creating that pattern and shape within it.
Okay.
That's what I'm thinking, maybe.
Did you didn't use the matrix grid on this one?
I did not.
Okay, so then I would agree with Barb on that, absolutely.
Okay.
Like at the top, it feels really, really good, but even if you bring in the matrix, it's just going to again give it that hum.
Okay.
It's kind of like, yeah, it's just going to give it that hum. It's going to. I always say it's like putting a puzzle together, and you put the pieces; they're all in the right place, but until you actually like lock it in, it'll always kind of have like this slight strangeness. Like you see the image, but there's just these little distortions, and all those little distortions kind of throw you off, right? And imagine like taking a light and putting it on at a severe angle on a puzzle that had these little pieces that were up. It would throw this huge, shadows and stuff across the edge. So by locking it in, it would get rid of all that, right? All those shadows, because it would be just purely flat and everything would be picture perfect, locked in.
Okay.
So, I like the lock and block, but I think you need to use the matrix and just fine tune
Okay.
it. Okay.
Question about the matrix, because I'm working with a square and the matrix ones I have are rectangular. I haven't quite figured out how that all works.
All right, you would just slide it up underneath your image.
And the rectangle one's okay to use even though this is a square grid?
Absolutely, because if you're using the cat, just use the cat matrix, which the cat matrix will fill that in. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, because that was one of the reasons I didn't use it, because I didn't know if it was going to line up right. And
yeah, all the lines inside there will just when you put it in, find like one of maybe like your major diagonal here. Let me see here. Annotate. Like from here to here, from dominant Baroque, dominant and sinister. So and then here's a dominant Baroque as well. Okay.
Okay.
And then you have your verticals, right? So I would say like line up a vertical and a dominant diagonal, right?
Okay.
You can even do a horizontal as well if you want. Like just kind of lock it, like line it up. Because once it locks into one, you'll see how it kind of like locks into most of it.
Okay. Oh, that helps, because I was just puzzled with that. Not sure how it would work.
So that'll be good. So this week Barb can kind of help you and Connie just oversee that when you guys meet.
Yeah.
And then cool.
Well, I'll work on it tomorrow. So you want to see the other one?
Yeah.
Okay. And
Do. Oh wow! Oh wow!
This was the Enlighten one, and I reworked it because before the dominant vertical was on the left side, and people felt like they were stuck down in the left-hand corner. So I moved it to the right and moved the light and the point of contrast up from where it used to be.
I wish I had Tourette's right now. It would help
Why?
me. Because it would help me express the joy that I feel.
That's a first.
I just did it in my head. This is so beautiful. It makes me want to be a construction worker.
What?
It's so beautiful. It makes me want to be a construction worker so I can catcall it. Hey, you painting! What are you doing later? You be hanging around the wall somewhere? Oh, yeah. All right, so who's going to rip it apart? Who's going to get in there and go bulldog on it? Come on. Anybody? No? Okay, let me call on somebody. Let's get some two constructive feedbacks. Charlene, I haven't heard from you in a little bit. Come.
Ask somebody else.
Just looking at everything that you see here, what's something that's inspiring you? What's something that you see that you would like to incorporate in one of your images?
The motion in it.
Emotion? Indeed. You know, it's almost like it's calling you to come walk on the water with it.
Mm-hmm. Emotion and movement.
And you feel like you know exactly where you would step, how you would move to this new place, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's gorgeous. And look at, we haven't even brought in paint or texture or color or, any of that yet. And it's already has such an emotional, connection. It just, damn. Sorry. Julie, what is something that you really like about this piece? I know you do water pieces as well.
I like the movement swirling through the water at the bottom and the rocks. Sort of a lovely movement across around.
Is there anything in it that you might be able to improve on?
I think there could be a bit more energy in the sun's rays. I suspect they're all plotted on the same grid as the water, but there is the consideration of using a different grid for the sun's rays to put a bit more energy into that energy coming down into the picture. Your sketch on the far right-hand side here has a bit more energy in it, whereas these are a bit more static. Possibly.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
That was the first thing that I sort of noticed, was there is a slightly different energy in your sketches compared to the line drawing, the grid work.
I didn't think about that before, but if we have a grid, say a square grid here, okay? And really inside the square grid, what we're looking at is, let's say we have this rectangle here, right? And then we have the same size rectangle here. And then let's say we do one at the bottom here. We could theoretically bring in a whole nother rectangle that would give that top part of the image a whole, it would give it a whole nother level of energy, right? And that's, or maybe in this case that what we're doing is actually, maybe we do it the other way where, oops, did it too far. Where if we have the square, and then what we have is the big boy here, the big boy here, the big boy at the bottom. Then we could have maybe like a root 5 or something. You know, like a little bit of a longer, thinner, longer rectangle at the top. And that would bring in a whole nother, you know, set of diagonals that you could use.
Now, root 5, is that the cheetah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that's the grid that I did use on this.
Oh, really? Okay, cool. So I wouldn't worry about that in this project, but in the projects to come, once you get, you know, you guys are getting familiar and comfortable with this stuff, then we can then explore overlapped rectangles and different types of, you know, combinations and things like that. But again, you're getting, right now you're just focused on using the tools, but then we'll be able to start to actually compose and create and tell deeper stories with the rectangles and things like that.
Okay.
You know, so you guys are going to become very complicated compositions.
So if this was a root 5, there should be a 45 that goes out there that could bring some energy in the sort of ends of the rays here. 45.
Yep.
Yeah, I will look at the different grids and see
But there
about the
should be
different energy, because I like that idea that,
There is a 45 in all of them, so that could come out there, which would just.
But also we want to take a look at her energy map here, and we notice how you have those horizontals there. So you wanted that energy to be on this side of the image, which is what you have. So here
Right.
it's like very open. So you have one little in there, but mainly you wanted the rhythm to be like da 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 da, and then a little bit of more peaceful over it in this section.
yes.
And that's what's showing there. So, yeah, I mean, I think, you know, this is good, you know. I would just go back, just like what Barb was saying, put the matrix underneath it and just slide it underneath just to make sure that all of these things are kind of, you know, hummed properly. I mean, you know, and you'll feel it almost immediately. There's just a hum. There's a harmony that happens. Okay, cool. Great job. Anybody have any last comments on that one?
I think that your drawing is beautiful, Deb. This part, this one here. Where's my annotation? This here. Yeah, that is just gorgeous. It just takes my breath away. Wonderful.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, it's funny when I look at that image, I constantly think of like those paintings of like Jesus walking on the water, right? And yet there is no Jesus walking on the water. It just has like that interesting feel to it.
That's interesting.
And it might be because you have the vertical, you know, where it's almost like you almost feel like something should be popping up out of it, you know, or that it is, but nothing's there. It's just a sense of a feeling that something's walking out on it. And Yeah, look at that. You just did your thrust map. I didn't even realize that. So yeah, it's cool. It's really, really beautiful. All right. So we have one more. Julie, unless you're good there, Deb?
Yep, I'm good.
What was that?
I'm good. I'm going to go play around with it more.